Order, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Jeffrey.
Present.
Brubaker.
Here.
Kimmons.
Here.
Kaiser.
Here.
Lucas.
Here. Thank you. Have an agenda for this evening. Are there any additions to the agenda? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second. It's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
The opposed, motion carries. Minutes from the last meeting, which are included in the council packets. Are there any corrections or additions to the minutes from the last council meeting? Hearing none, is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
It's a motion for approval.
Second.
Is there a second? Motion and seconded. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
The opposed, motion carries. Moving on to communication requests and information items. Number 2, a request for a street light to be installed next to the alley adjacent to 213 Brinkerhoff.
As we mentioned it previously, this street lights in that area, there's one on both ends of the block, but they're turned away from each other, and there's a rise and some vegetation there. So staff reviewed that and felt like the street light at that location was warranted.
All right, questions, anyone? I assume this is in a resolution that we'll approve at some point. Or do you need approval for this?
Mr. Mayor, I've
Yes.
not found any procedural requirement for a resolution or ordinance, so I think it can be done administratively with a motion.
Okay, thank you.
That's typical.
I'd like to make a motion that we install a light at that alley.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
Motion and seconded. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to the consent agenda. Does anyone object to any of the items 3 through 7 listed in the consent agenda? Without objection, entertain a motion for the reading of the consent agenda.
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? First and only reading.
Bill number R1362, a resolution approving a maintenance agreement with Cummins, Inc. for generator maintenance. Bill R1363, a resolution authorizing the purchase of an easement machine for the Public Utilities Department. Bill R1364, a resolution authorizing the submission of an application to the Missouri Department of Economic Development for grant funding for downtown revitalization. Bill R1365, a resolution authorizing submission of a Traffic Engineering Assistance Program grant application for 2023. And Bill R1366, a resolution authorizing and accepting a change order to the agreement with L&J Development, Inc. for amphitheater improvements.
Okay, you've heard the reading of the resolutions. Any further discussion? Hearing none, is there a motion for approval?
So move.
And a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. The consent agenda is approved. So we'll move on to number 8, an ordinance.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I have an ordinance adopting the recommendation of the Planning and Zoning Commission to approve the rezoning application of the City of Moberly for property located at 805 and 809 Myra Street and 810 Sturgeon Street. Has to be read twice for passage.
All right, there's a motion for the reading of the ordinance. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? First reading.
An ordinance adopting the recommendation of the Planning and Zoning Commission to approve the rezoning application of the City of Moberly for property located at 805 and 809 Myra Street and 810 Sturgeon Street.
All right, you've heard the first reading. Any discussion? Hearing none. Second reading.
An ordinance adopting the recommendation of the Planning and Zoning Commission to approve the rezoning application of the City of Moberly for property located at 805 and 809 Myra Street and 810 Sturgeon Street.
All right, you've heard the reading of the ordinance. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, is there a motion for approval of the ordinance?
So moved. Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Roll call, please.
Jeffrey?
Yes.
Brubaker?
Yes.
Kimmons?
Yes.
Kaiser?
Yes.
Lucas?
Yes.
Okay. The motion carries. The ordinance is passed. Moving to number 9, an ordinance.
Mr. Mayor, I have an ordinance approving a cooperative agreement with Moberly Community Foundation. Ask for it to be read for consideration.
All right, there's a motion for the reading of the ordinance. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? First reading.
An ordinance approving a cooperative agreement with Moberly Community Foundation.
All right, heard the reading of the ordinance. Any discussion? Hearing none, second reading.
An ordinance approving a cooperative agreement with Moberly Community Foundation.
All right, you've heard the second reading. Any further discussion? Hearing none, is there a motion for approval?
So move.
And a second.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Roll call, please.
Jeffrey?
Yes.
Brubaker?
Yes.
Kimmons?
Yes.
Kaiser?
Yes.
Lucas?
Yes.
Okay, the motion passes and the ordinance is passed. And we'll move on to number 10, an ordinance.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have an ordinance approving a cooperative agreement amendment, Moberly Area Community College for bulk rental. I asked it to be read twice for consideration.
All right, you've heard the motion for the reading of the ordinance. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? First reading.
An ordinance approving a cooperative agreement amendment with Moberly Area Community College for ball field rental.
All right, you've heard the first reading of the ordinance. Any discussion? Hearing none, second reading.
An ordinance approving a cooperative agreement amendment with Moberly Area Community College for ball field rental.
All right, you've heard the second reading of the ordinance. Any further discussion? Hearing none, is there a motion for approval? And a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Roll call, please.
Jeffrey?
Yes.
Brubaker?
Yes.
Kimmons?
Yes.
Kaiser?
Yes.
Lucas?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Ordinance is passed. Move on to number 11, an ordinance.
Mr. Mayor, I have an ordinance authorizing the city manager to execute a Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission Transportation Enhancement Funds Program agreement for sidewalks along Route EE and ask to be read twice for consideration of passage.
All right, you've heard the motion for the reading of the ordinance. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? First reading.
An ordinance authorizing the city manager to execute a Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission Transportation Enhancement Funds Program agreement for sidewalks along Route EE.
All right, you've heard the first reading of the ordinance. Any discussion? Hearing none, second reading.
An ordinance authorizing the city manager to execute a Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission Transportation Enhancement Funds Program agreement for sidewalks along Route EE.
All right, you've heard the second reading of the ordinance. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
It's been motioned and seconded.
Second.
Motion and seconded. Roll call, please.
Jeffrey?
Yes.
Brubaker?
Yes.
Kimmons?
Yes.
Kaiser?
Yes.
Lucas?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries and the ordinance is passed. So now we'll move on to number 12, a resolution.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have a resolution authorizing the 2022 Christmas parade route and public consumption of alcohol beverages. Has to be read for consideration.
All right, heard the motion for the reading of the resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? First and only reading.
A resolution authorizing the 2022 Christmas parade route and public consumption of alcoholic beverages.
All right, you've heard the reading of the resolution. Any further discussion? Hearing none, is there a motion for approval?
So move.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been motioned and seconded. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries, and the resolution is passed. We'll move on to number 13, a resolution.
Mr. Mayor, I have a resolution accepting a permanent sewer easement for the Route JJ Regional Sewer Project. Ask for it to be read for consideration.
All right, there's a motion for the reading of the resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? First and only reading.
A resolution accepting a permanent sewer easement for the Route JJ Regional Sewer Project.
All right, you've heard the reading of the resolution. Any further discussion? Hearing none, is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries, and the resolution is passed. So we'll move on to number 14, a resolution.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute an architect's agreement with WSKF Inc. I ask that request funds for consideration and passage.
All right, you heard the motion for the reading of the resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? First and only reading.
A resolution authorizing the city manager to execute an architect's agreement with WSKF Inc.
All right, you've heard the reading of the resolution. Any further discussion? Ms. Crean, I guess I have a question. Is it, as this architect is going to work on all these plans, what group is going to be guiding? Are there any intermediate steps as they go along and do this? Are they just going to put out a drawing and then we'll look at it, or how's the sequence going to work on that?
Yeah, they'll work with the departments, whether it's the police department or the fire department, on the needs, and then they'll submit a recommendation to the council on what they would like to see, and then that'll be your chance to adjust that if you would like, or go with the staff recommendation.
So it won't be until it's completely done that we will
No,
have a
no,
chance
there'll
to say,
be no. There's a preliminary design process and then a final design. So you'll be in the preliminary design.
okay.
Yeah, they don't finalize work before they submit their preliminary design.
Okay. Anyone else? Hearing none, is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Resolution passes. So moving on to the next page, number 15, a resolution.
Mr. Mayor, I have a resolution of the City of Moberly, Missouri, authorizing an application for the 2022 Law Enforcement Block Grant. Ask that it be read once for consideration of passage.
All right, you've heard the motion for the reading of the resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? First and only reading.
A resolution of the City of Moberly, Missouri, authorizing an application for the 2022 Local Law Enforcement Block Grant.
All right, you've heard the reading of the resolution. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, is there a motion for approval? And a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Resolution passes. Moving on to number 16.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have a resolution of the City of Moberly, Missouri, authorizing an application for a fire protection grant. Asked to be read for consideration.
All right, there's a motion for the reading of the resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? First and only reading.
A resolution of the City of Moberly, Missouri, authorizing application for a fire protection grant.
All right, you've heard the reading of the resolution. Any further discussion? Hearing none, is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Been motioned and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries, and the resolution is passed. Moving on to the last resolution, number 17.
Mr. Mayor, I have a resolution appropriating money out of the treasury of the City of Moberly, Missouri in the amount of $406,733.55. Ask for it to be read for consideration.
All right, there's a motion for the reading of the resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? First and only reading.
A resolution appropriating money out of the Treasury of the City of Moberly, Missouri in the amount of $406,733.55.
I hereby certify that there's sufficient money standing to the credit of the City of Moberly, Missouri, unappropriated in the several funds covered by this resolution to meet the requirements of this resolution. Submitted Gregory L. Hodge, City Treasurer, City of Moberly. Any discussion of the resolution? Hearing none, is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
And it's been motioned and seconded. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Resolution passes. So we'll move on to anything else to come in front of the council. If you have issues you'd like to take up with the council, you need to submit a registration card to the clerk, and you'll have a maximum of 4 minutes to address the council. If there's anyone here on any other issues, otherwise we'll move on to number 18, which is department head monthly reports. Anyone have a question regarding any of the department heads and their respective reports?
Not a question.
Mr. Brubaker.
Tom, on the Eagle Tree Ridge duplex subdivision, you may not be able to answer this. I've had people ask me what time frame we're looking at.
They had hoped to have the roads installed already, and so and start construction of the houses yet this year. But they're talking now based on some of the conditions of some of the soils out there. They're going to have to make some changes to meet compaction requirements. And so last conversation I had with the contractor and developer, we're probably going to be trying to do the roads in the spring, put the infrastructure in the spring, and so construction of the housing would start in the spring.
Okay, thanks.
I had
Mr. Lucas.
one quick question for Dana. Did the pumps that the motors that we had to rent, have the new replacements arrived? Are we still renting I think they were pumps or motors or something? Good. I hadn't heard whether those had been replaced or if we were still renting, so I was just curious. Thank you.
Anyone else? I was going to say I have a question for Mr. Hodge, but I have to say it's for Matt. I'm looking at the format on the check registry, and is that per new Cassell software?
Right, we've made our transition, and so that's the way they're going to look. We're still working on adding, but that is the way.
So my question is, it starts off as check number, date, and then as the payee, and then when you go down to the next page, is that a continuation of that page, or is it just going to list a GL account and then?
Yeah, that's the second part is just GL accounts. You have a listing of the check register, and then you have that $433,000 that is the total of the checks, and then it just breaks out. This report breaks out a little different the way it goes in individual accounts.
So we're not going to actually have a description of what the account is. It's just going to be a number.
We can put that in if that's something that we can add into that.
What's the pleasure of the council? I mean, I'm not going to memorize numbers.
I mean, personally, I think it'd be more useful for us to have the description of who it's payable to, and because I don't think that's realistic to ask. I mean, I could probably remember all the GL accounts, but I don't think it's realistic to ask the other councilmen to memorize those GL accounts.
It's just a formatting. We went live on the Monday, and then we submitted these on Wednesday. So tight turnaround to get everything ready, but we can add that in. It's just another field.
I'll try not to take that as an insult then, Councilman Brubaker. Anyone else? Okay, if there's none others, then we'll move on from department head monthly reports, and move to a consideration of final appointment to the Moberly Crossings Community Improvement District Board.
Yes, Mayor, with an opening on that board, with the resignation of Michael Bogowski, we're recommending that appointment of Randy Asbury to that board.
Okay. Anything you want to say for your cause? Do or you don't? All right, great. Glad to have you on there. So you need approval for that, I would assume?
Yes.
Okay, is there a motion to that effect?
So move. Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Randy Asbury is the new appointee. Okay, is there anything else coming from the council? All right, hearing none, I entertain a motion to adjourn from regular session to work session followed by closed session. Is there a motion to that effect?
So move.
And a second.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Roll call, please.
Jeffrey,
Yes.
Brubaker,
Yes.
Kimmons,
Yes.
Kaiser,
Yes.
Lucas.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you all for coming. We're adjourned from the regular session, and we will move on to the agenda of the work session. Call that meeting to order, and first up is the update to the Tourism Advisory Commission application.
That they could achieve the maximum, but which top.
It was.
How about now? It on and off.
I wonder if we can do that.
There we go. How about now?
Yep.
All right. So again, what they were trying to do is find a solution or a way that they could have a good application that maybe not score a perfect score, which would have to be a 5 in every category. So right now, any application to achieve the full request, so if somebody asked for $750, the cap's $1,000, but somebody asked for $750, they'd have to have a 5 top score in all 7 categories, which in reality, that's probably not going to happen. That was what some of the group tourism felt they were concerned with, is they didn't have really a basis to score of what's a 1, what's a 2, what's a 3, what's a 5. You know, if you had multiple applications, you could kind of wage them against each other and make that determination of which one's better. Usually you're reviewing one application most of the time. So they were uncomfortable with that. They felt like we could have a way that it either meets that criteria or doesn't meet that criteria. So that's why you see the format you have here. And also, the funding is tied directly to that, so they were wanting to separate it. So what they were looking at was to come in and have the 7 categories that we have right now and have it reviewed as yes or no. Do you meet those categories or do you not meet those categories? If they meet them, and then have it where they achieved at least 5 of those categories, that the group could recommend up to the maximum amount. So if they're asking for $750, they could give up to that amount, but they weren't required to. That was still at their basis. And then if they scored a 4, they could approve up to 50%. And if they had less than score a 4, then they would receive none of them. That would give them a way to balance that cap of $1,000.
Thank you, Mr. Sanders. I guess I'll start, and I don't have a problem with changing it, but I think somewhere in there is going to have to be some weighting of the measurable tourism benefit and the overnight stay, because you could easily have a very small impact and have all yeses and you get $1,000, which wouldn't be any different from an event that came in that had a lot of impact and a lot of proven participation, like the wine stroll or the Junk Junction. And just by getting a yes, I don't know, it's like you want to change it all to pass fail. So I'm not opposed to changing. I don't think I would be in favor of what you're proposing here. So I would prefer that you use a mix of either some numbers and some yes and no, or somehow have a quantify the important things, which are who's going to be here overnight and the hotel stays when we eventually get more hotels, as opposed to just saying, yeah, you had 5 people come, and that's going to get the same yes as somebody who has all the hotels full. So I think I've made that kind of clear. I'll let anyone else say what they want to say. I would prefer, if we move it forward, that it be tweaked again before passage. But that's my opinion.
My thoughts on this is due to our limitation on hotel rooms. Until we do get additional hotels, I don't see that as a big factor. And the way you've got it presented, I don't have a problem with it. I think when this first started, I know when I was on the tourism committee several years ago, the hotel stays, we put that in there because that was a priority to help them get more business because they were paying the hotel tax. And we felt like that was only fair, and we should give that consideration. But right now, with the way the occupancy levels are at the 2 hotels, they're almost maxed out all the time. That I don't think we can put that much weight on that right now. And we can change this again later on
It changes a lot.
if we get hotels. But
Anybody else? I guess the only point that I would say to Councilman Brubaker is the last time it was changed, it probably took over a year. So I would prefer, if we're going to change it, to leave it to something that can last, not just through now, but when we have more hotels, because it's a very difficult process to go through to change it. So I'd just soon get it right than to think I'm going to slant it one way or the other this time and then have to go back and redo it. We do still have 2 hotels, and if tourism, if they measure by not necessarily who comes here and stays, but who comes here from out of town also, then that's a certainly a number that needs to be measured. I would assume you do that with Junk Junction, do you not, Megan? Yeah. So that's just a yes and no under this one. So I'm not in favor of this one. If you can tweak this some more to use some numbers, I'll be in favor of it. So what's the pleasure of the council?
Mr. Mayor, if I could, uh, taking into consideration your valuable time and the committee's valuable time, it would really be helpful if you would write up your objections to the way it's presented and which way you kind of like it to lean, so that when we meet as a committee, we have a much better idea as to what you're looking for.
All right, that's a good point. Anyone else? Happy to do that. Do we need to discuss the time that you all meet? I mean, is everyone good with a 9 o'clock meeting for one of the most important councils we have?
We're in a place and time, finding people to volunteer and things is extremely difficult. And I know the time on this meeting has been picked back and forth. We had situations where coming for the commission, we didn't have a forum, so we didn't meet. So tried to do what we could to get the most people there. At the 9 o'clock, I don't particularly like myself, but that's when the people would show up. So.
Okay, so I guess in my opinion here, I'd be happy to give that to the committee if the council's okay about waiting. Otherwise, you're basically saying you want to go to a pass-fail, or are we going to still have grade cards? That's what you're talking about here.
I'm okay with giving you time to send your objections to the committee and let them revamp the thing.
So, Mr. Crane, would we move it forward or would we not move it forward?
We can just hold it until you leave it in work session and see whatever.
Anyone opposed to that? All right. So we'll move on to number 2, appointment to the Housing Authority Board.
Yes, Mayor, this is a position that's open. Mary Brink currently serves in that. We did reach out to her. She is interested in serving again. There's no other applications on file.
All right. Questions, anyone? Anyone opposed to moving that forward to the next meeting?
No.
All right. No opposition. That'll move forward. Number 3, request for a stop sign at the intersection of Chandler and Bertley Street.
The PD did a study on this and reviewed that and summarize it. They did feel like that required or was needed a stop sign at this time.
All right. Mr. Lucas?
I don't know if anybody drove over there, that's on the council per se, but I drove over there this afternoon, and you go down the street. There's a stop sign on either every side street or main artery there. To me, it just looks like it's an accident waiting to happen. Some little kid comes out there and he's on a bike, and there's just no stop at all. It's just basically look, see if anybody's there, and go. To me, it seems like an accident waiting to happen. I know there's not a lot of traffic, but I would rather be safe than sorry personally. So that's my opinion on it.
Well, I know I have not gone out there to that intersection, so I'll have to say I don't feel real qualified either way. Any other comments?
I will say that when I first got on the council, I had the same experience with a number of our intersections. I can tell you that in the past, we've had requests for stop signs at busier locations, and we've followed the advice and said no. I did drive over there and look, and while I agree with you, at the same time, I've seen us reject busier locations down like by Vincel and that area. So I'm in favor of following what we've done in the past, but I do understand your concern. I was there at one time too.
What is the justification for a stop sign? Is it traffic count? Is it several factors? I'm curious because I don't know.
Yes, we follow the Missouri Uniform Traffic Code, which is kind of a VODOT balance. So based on where you have them, and you have two streets that have one has a much higher number of traffic and one has a lower traffic count, then you might look at one into there and having those lower traffic counts or street yielding for that. But if you have one that both have traffic counts, and I don't know if we have the numbers off the top, probably, but
I think it was in the work session agenda.
There's four accidents
Yeah, it's in there.
Yeah, that was
in the last 25 years.
okay. Yeah, there's not accidents, accident down, but it's based on like traffic counts. If you start having streets with high traffic, what happens? You have a stop sign where it doesn't warrant it. You have people come to an intersection, no traffic. There 90% of the time when they pull up the stop sign, they start ignoring it. So they start running it. So it makes sometimes a situation less safe by not having that there because they pull up there. You're counting on that person to stop and they run through the flag because they're used to not stopping it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
Got a question.
Mr. Brubaker.
Wait on a comment. So this is, if I remember right, this is the last intersection when you're going down Chandler, and then I believe it dead ends, doesn't it?
Chandler does, yes.
And Berkeley's the last intersection
Or the dead end.
as you're heading east,
Yes.
right? That's what we're talking about here. The question I have though is, and you may not know this because this is kind of off the wall question, but how many of these type intersections do we have in Moberly that don't have stop signs?
Some there, some down.
So most of them do have some type of. Okay.
Traffic areas like that. Our ordinance says drivers don't do that, they just
Right. What's the expense involved?
It's not. I couldn't give you a number off the top of my head. Probably take the new traffic counts initially, identify which streets the lower traffic count of the two, if there is much difference, and then probably establish signs on that. Call dig right, and probably $500 in signs.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, so I believe PD is saying no, or code enforcement, and so there's a request. If we're not for that, then we would not move that forward to the next meeting, correct? Anyone in favor of moving it forward? I hear none, so that will not move forward to the next meeting. So we'll move on to number 4, request from Radnor Construction LLC for city properties to build infill housing.
So we had submitted proposals. All the properties that we had, we advertised those from time to time and put those out for our proposals. This was actually for the proposal we received from Radmer Construction, 707 was actually the only application we received this time. It's more common that come along after the fact when it's convenient, when they're looking for a lot to build and ask at that time. But at the time we submitted for proposal 707, which still has a house on it, which is right across from South Park School. They proposed it, and you can see a diagram in your packet there, what they're proposing, a single family infill house. We also happen to have the lot at 50 Gilman, which is kind of directly behind it there across the alley, is also a vacant lot. So the topography there is a little bit, drops off a little bit, so that's not been a real desirable location because of the potential for fill. But because he's wanting to do that location, he's trying to do both, an infill house on both of them, so he can construct them at the same time.
Questions, anyone? All right, anyone opposed to moving that forward? Hearing no opposition, that'll move forward to the next meeting. And we'll move on to number 5, review of housing assistance program for police department. No, I don't believe it is.
There we go. In August of 19, in response to our recruitment and retention issues, it was proposed that the city establish a housing and utility assistance for commissioned police officers and our dispatchers. At that time, it was allowed, they had a year to also apply it for the county. Those individuals that met the requirements and lived in the county for the first year got $250 toward that housing assistance. Since that time has expired, none of our new officers or dispatchers that reside in the county, but not in the city limits, have been eligible for this benefit. Our current efforts to recruit and retain both of those positions has not decreased. In fact, it's substantially more difficult now than ever before. 3 months ago or 2 months ago, I was 4 dispatchers. Now I'm down to 6 and likely to be down to 5 before the end of this month. That particular dispatcher would really like to retain. She's very good. She is leaving us to go to a retail job in town to make about $18 an hour. Currently, she makes $15.57. We have spoken with her, and this would be one program that if she was to become eligible for, she has indicated that she would stay with us because she would prefer to dispatch and do retail sales at a counter. That being said, this was an ordinance that was passed in August of 2019. It required a renewal of that or an amending of that ordinance. Currently, I have 5 employees that would be affected by this, 1 communication officer and 4 officers. The cost for this through this current budget year is $8,700, $8,750 to be exact is what it would cost in our budget. And with my means in patrol staff and other places, it's that's money that I can spend. If it moves forward and becomes eligible for the next year, it'd be about $17,500 is what additional cost to our budget, this particular line item. So we're hoping to get this amended and get this part of it. In our opinion, folks living in Randolph County are still spending their money at Walmart and places like that, usually not driving someplace else.
Thank you, Chief. I think one thing you're leaving out of that whole description was the reason was to get Moberly police officers to live in the city limits of Moberly, because we didn't have very many that lived in the city limits. So if we go by what you're proposing here, we're going to be paying a stipend, which I believe is the way it's described, to officers and or dispatchers to not live in the city of Moberly. So it kind of nullifies that whole point that was created for. It was obviously created for other reasons to augment the salaries, but I'm not opposed to looking at other avenues, but I can't call something a housing allowance to live in Moberly when it's going to go and augment people that aren't going to live in the city limits of Moberly. So for that reason, I am not in agreement on this one proposal. Redoing the thing for the Moberly police, I'm all in favor. And when we get our agreement with ARCAD and the county, we might be able to take that up as far as changing the whole thing to augment salaries. But it's just been not even 6 months since we did the last salary study and increase, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
Talking to them, dispatchers, they don't good place.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, they can't live on what.
Yeah.
Just say that I cannot work golf all the time.
Sure. I see. Okay.
So this is one thing, one adjustment right now. Just some, again, I'm here presenting it. So guys just say
Sure.
okay. This is what I think is the right. They're living right out there.
They are. I think as a councilman who voted for it, and I don't remember if I was one of the ones that proposed it, we wanted those people to live on the streets of our city. And if they live somewhere else, that's not fulfilling that. So I'm not opposed to other ideas to take care of this problem, but the way you've got it worded in this particular resolution, I would not support. Anyone else want to comment? Mr. Kaiser?
Yeah, I regarding I could keep hearing about they still spend the money about them. My understanding was it was more about a pride issue in the sense of if you live inside the city of Moberly, you're going to do your job even better. You know, you're going to care about your community, your neighbors, and so on. I do agree that they're going to spend the money here either way. I would like to look more into this because I think we do need to look at ways we incentivize people to stay, but also to come to work for our departments. So I think we need to look at a much bigger picture than just this proposal tonight.
Yeah.
But I'd like to see us look at something, after the first year, to get something in effect after the first year. But this one tonight, I think we can do better and do more.
All right. Mr. Kimmons?
In concert with that, I think this really is something that, we'd like to have HR's input on it, as well as Brian's. Look at what we're going to do with it or what we can do with it. If we wipe away, not living in the city, that changes the whole concept of this.
Sure.
So I understand we need something, but I really would like to spend some time looking at that and not lose the value of this, but maybe find another way to do it. I don't know. I'm looking for ways to do it.
I don't know if it's come up in your 911 group, but I mean, at some point, if we have an agreement with RCAD and the county, then that's going to be a little bit different funding origination for dispatchers than what we have right now. So I'm a little uncomfortable doing that before everybody's agreed to one organization that we're talking about. We've been working on to change that because that's certainly not in that contract. Mr. Crane, anything you want to add?
No, I mean, we're going to continue to work on different programs and try to figure out ways to attract more. This was kind of a short-term, quick, effective program we've seen a lot of success with. So trying to utilize it as the vehicle was kind of the first quick stop to try to attract more. But we'll continue to look at other programs that we can.
Mr. Kaiser.
Could I ask one question? As we kind of touched on, but Matt, could you look into and confirm that the stipend about whether that goes towards loggers and payroll tax? I know you had an answer for me earlier, but could you confirm that it does or does not apply to those things?
Yes, I can confirm that it does. So it's in our budget last year, FICA, loggers, long-term disability, liability, work comp, all that was attached to this amount. So it's regular wages to the police officer. So it's about 30% in employment costs above that base amount.
So when we talk about a $3,600 stipend for living here, there's really additional costs to the budget than the $3,600.
Not large. Last year, our program was budgeted at $73,000, and there was $22,000 in those other loggers, FICA. So
I bring it up just because I was under the impression that it did not count for
Right.
those things, and
Right.
I learned tonight that it does. So
Right.
anyway,
I understand. Well, anyone else have any comments? I guess I would say I'm not forward to moving this proposal forward, but I look forward to some other solutions, Chief. So that would not move.
Thanks for your time.
So we'll move on to number 6, splash pad change order.
So as you can see, there was we did final walkthrough about a month ago, and this is just cleaning up the final paperwork. They made some adjustments on the electrical that involved more labor, but cheaper materials, and the net difference was the change order you see. And this one's thankfully a reduction. So hopefully this should be the final one as we close that out, the paperwork on this out.
Okay, questions of Mr. Bach?
It's nice to see a change order with a decrease instead of a substantial increase.
Amen.
So,
Can you give us just a little bit of timeline on, I know some of that discussion, you had some time set on when this is going to be, but as far as from here forward, when you think the actual amphitheater will be done and when it will be paved, I guess you're talking about rock initially. I mean, are we talking about by the Memorial Day? Are we looking at next fall? What are we talking?
So right now it's looking like spring and summer. We hope to have an updated timeline soon. What happened is the band shell itself is back ordered. And of course, to get the grade work and the concrete done, the contractor had to have some of the templates and brackets for the band shell to at least get as far as the pouring the concrete for it. And at this point, weather is starting to get questionable. So he's hoping to at least get grade work and concrete done as soon as weather allows, as soon as he has those brackets. But ultimately, we don't have a date yet on the band shell itself.
Okay.
There will be spring and summer at this point.
Okay. All right. Mr. Brubaker has a question.
On that same subject, I'm curious on the cost of this. With concrete keeps going up, it seems like every few months. The contract that we sign with the contractor, is it fixed? Or
on the amphitheater,
are we going to be seeing,
or the splash pad?
I'm sorry, I was talking about the amphitheater. Excuse me.
Yes, those we do have. So the existing figure is in the contract with L&J Development. So that figure stands.
I just keep hearing that even it's already went up some, and a couple more months it's going to go up more.
Anyone else? All right. If there are no other questions, anyone opposed to moving that forward? Okay, that'll move forward to the next meeting. Is there anything to come in front of the council for the work session? All right, hearing none, entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
And a second?
second.
Been motioned and seconded. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
You opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you all for coming.